Use that, dude. Fortune Radio, one of the best.
Damn, we'll have to throw that in. We're gonna have to make a montage of my intro.
Doug, I'll make you a sick ass Fortune Radio.
This is Fortune Radio.
Yeah!
Fortune Radio. Welcome to Fortune Radio, man.
Hey, glad to be here.
Hey, so what's your full name? Will you introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, hi out there. Nick Cicada, CEO of Nicolas Comics, Denver's largest mail-order comics distributor since 2018. I write, I draw, I sing, pretty much do it all. And I'd say I'm probably Denver's most recognizable cartoonist. And as far as music goes, I play Denver New Wave, which is a subgenre of New Wave, specifically centered around the Denver metro area. And I'd say that's about
That's awesome, man. New Wave. Because, dude, I seen you at the Mercury.
Yeah.
And I love that spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's really awesome. They've got open mic. It's once a week, every Wednesday, right?
Yep, Wednesday, 9 p.m. And usually I get there like 8:45. I always do, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that spot's awesome. The vibe is right. Like, you go in there and there's a big room. And so there's a bar, and then there's a coffee bar. There's this piano. Like, last time I went in there was a group of like 4 or 5 people just rocking and rolling around the piano, singing, jamming to the piano.
Yeah,
like, really
I think
cool.
that's a college bunch, but it varies as to who's on the piano at any time of day.
It's all ages, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I prefer that because I don't drink, so really an establishment that isn't all ages is just kind of a waste for me, and restricts who can hear my music.
It also restricts, it's going to restrict who's going to see your music if you don't go, bro. Come on. But the thing is, I haven't seen your set. I don't know. I seen you over there, but I haven't seen your set. I really want to fucking hear your set.
The most, I'm there every week. I would say the most accessible pianos in Denver are on the 16th Street Mall, and they're just public, and you can just go up and play them, which is pretty cool. There's 5 of them, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, the I don't know much about the grand piano in the main room of the Merc, but they both sound fine from everything I hear of them. They're good grand piano models. I maintain, though, as a keyboardist, that keyboard and piano and organ are all 3 very different and separate instruments and require very different technique. So I'm not very good on piano, but I'm decent, and I could play most of my songs on piano if I asked to.
Dude, I strongly disagree because, dude, the keys are there. White keys, black keys. It's set up the same. Sit down at a grand piano. You just jam whatever you're going to jam, and you sit down at an organ, it's going to, the chords are the same, the keys, it's set up the same. I've got an ugly organ in the corner over there, a Hammond, and it makes some great sounds. You should play it later. Yeah.
That's an organ?
Yeah, the Pied Piper, or the Piper.
I've played a pump organ.
Oh, those are so cool.
Playing a pump organ is extremely different from playing a grand piano, which in turn is very different from playing a synth. It would be sort of like arguing that a guitar and a banjo are basically the same instrument.
They're shit.
Any banjoist and guitarist will tell you that it's a world of difference between them.
That's true. That is true, and I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
No, but the pump organ is cool. Pump organ's awesome. Do you mind cats? I can get her down. down if you.
Fine.
Is that okay?
I like cats.
That's Ruby. That's Ruby Katana. She's
I like cats.
The love of my life.
Yeah.
No, but man, I had a pump organ, and it's belt, like there's 2 pedals on the bottom, and it's connected with belts, and it's completely air driven.
Right.
And it was just sitting there collecting dust, and the belts were broken, and I just fucking grabbed a leather belt, cut it, repaired it,
right?
And it got it rocking and rolling again.
Yeah, pump organs are popular in they were built and designed specifically for areas where a full grand piano would be impractical, because the apparatus inside a grand piano is obviously very large to sound good. Smaller models of piano aren't as practical. So the advantage of an organ is it's compact enough to fit inside a standard door. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't even really think about that because, getting a grand piano through a door that's...
Yeah, you have to turn it sideways or take the door out.
Yeah.
And for a long while, organs were the common choice of like apartments and smaller places, and they were used specifically by people with less space because it's just a more compact option. But to make the notes and to pump it, you do have to use a very different technique to sustain notes than a piano where it's instant, or a keyboard where it's even more controllable.
Right. What kind of synthesizer do you use?
I use a Casio MT68. It's a model from 1983
Very
during
cool.
Casio's golden age, and it has some similarities with several models that were produced around it, but it has a lot of unique features, and I would argue a very distinct sound. So all my songs with the Casio MT68 sound pretty sharp, and I can't say I've ever heard a keyboard that sounds much like it.
That's really cool. I mean, I hear, and you said the golden age. It's what, late '80s Casio golden age. I've heard about it.
no,
I don't know a lot about it.
Early age.
Okay, early '80s.
Yeah, groups like SSQ.
Okay.
Their album Playback is a good example of first wave synth pop. And so if you have bands like SSQ out, obviously what they're going to need is a very, very sophisticated model synthesizer, and Casio and Yamaha at the time were only too glad to cooperate and put that through. So I would recommend to any keyboardist, if you're going to get into keyboards and you're going to get into synths, you should go for like 1980, 85. 90s are okay too. Anything after that doesn't have that great a tone.
Dude, that's so awesome, man. Because, dude, that early shit, I mean, it sounds pretty cool, if not, I mean, just as cool, if not cooler. And most of it's analog, right? It's pre-digital.
Yeah, my
shit.
synth's an analog synth.
Yeah.
It has a very organic sound to it.
And I don't hate digital. There's some diehard analog heads out there, but like, dude, I like digital. I use a digital delay. I bought a DG6 digital delay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that's in a different vein, but shit, they can do some pretty cool stuff with computers, man.
My keyboard, for instance, it doesn't have a drum machine. Some people say it has a drum machine, but it really doesn't. It just has pre-recorded instrumental loops and backing tracks, about 20 of them. So the percussion is very limited, but provided you're good on the keys, which I happen to be, that's no problem, and it's very responsive to feel and like that. So yeah, I wouldn't say everyone can pull off an analog synth. There are advantages between digital and analog synths, but I think in terms of getting a certain sound, it's necessary to have the correct equipment. So to any aspiring keyboardist, I'd recommend to weigh all the options and look into as many models as possible. There are hundreds. And
speaking of options, so what do you think about this? Because I worked with this guy who was really deep into synth and the DJ realm, and I've always personally really liked weighted keys. And he was saying, he's like, no, fuck weighted keys. He's like, no weighted keys. He's like, it's all about the speed. You get more speed. And he just, I mean, do you have a preference?
Well, again, this is one way that like a grand piano and a keyboard are definitely different. Playing a keyboard feels a lot like just using a calculator or something. And I think, like, if you can speed dial, for instance, if you're good on a keypad, you'll be good on a keyboard, because they're both like very mechanical apparatus. A piano, having a weight on the other end like drops onto that thing. It's a whole different feeling.
Changes everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
does.
different action, different
Yeah.
play on the keys. You know, it's
And,
totally different.
Yeah, that needs to be taken into account.
I like a nice weighted keyboard, man. Just fool me. Try to fool me. That's fine. Yamaha makes some great shit. This guy down the hall, Will, he's got this Yamaha weighted key. I think it's an 88, but just brilliant. Yamaha makes great shit too. They're making all kinds of shit. They're making lawnmowers and motorcycles and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, Casio makes calculators. So
Yeah, exactly, dude. I want to get a Casio. I'm like, I kind of like feel a little nerdy about the golden era of Casio. That's what it's called, the golden era?
well, I mean, that's what I assume that's what most people would refer to it as, because you never heard as many synths either before or after the early 1980s. They pretty much they were in everything, and
Do you fuck with poetry? Yeah, how in your set? I'm sorry, I haven't seen your fuck. I should, I wish I'd seen your set before we recorded. Did you do you? Is it only instrumental, or are you just doing soundscapes and shit with your synth?
I don't. I don't do poetry. Generally, there's a couple open mics that I've done poetry at, but I'm not good with poetry. I'm good with long form, 1,000 to 10,000 word short stories or essays. I'm not good with poetry because I can't fit words into that short a format, and it also requires a good deal of emotional intimacy, and I'm not good with free-form emotional intimacy. I'm good with extremely calculated narrative cohesion, and that's why my medium of choice, at least as far as writing goes, is the science fiction short story, 1,000 to 10,000 words typically. If it's under 1,000 words, I try and put some more meat on it. But as far as poetry goes, no, I've never been to the Merck Poetry open mic on Fridays. I've never actually gone to that. I have lots of friends who go and say, "Oh, it's great," but these same people never go to the music open mic on Wednesdays. So I really see no reason to go to the poetry mic on Fridays because, I think the line between poets and musicians is pretty strong. And I'm not a good poet, and I find poetry boring.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, I'm crossing that line right now because I've always been a singer-songwriter, mainly a looper. I'm using a Boss RC300 and I'm looping, but lately I've been rapping, man, and so that's kind of like where the bridge kind of lies.
I don't know if they have rap at the.
Well, I mean,
Friday
it's all about cadence and delivery. I mean, rap is poetry. And I could slam poet that shit all day long. You feel me?
I suppose, but the Denver hip hop is very promising. So I would recommend getting into Denver hip hop because there are a lot of really, really good rappers, and all you need for it is an adapter from a headphone jack on your phone or something, and any open mic. Pretty much all the ones I've been to have that. Sometimes, very rare cases, they don't, but it's pretty easy to put a backing track behind your rap. And I would say there are some rappers who can pull that off. Mos Def, Common, but I wouldn't say most. I wouldn't say most sound particularly good without a backing. And production, of course, is part of the most important. It's very important in hip hop, especially with stuff like. I mean, I know lots of producers, Jay Dilla and Madlib and all those, very important figures in hip hop. So I would say,
absolutely.
Part of the advantage of hip hop is the way that music and words complement each other, in ways that it can't with standard songwriting.
And dude, we were talking about open mics a little bit. Yeah. So Wednesday night is the Mercury Cafe, and then also Lion's Lair. So the deal is, like, you can hit multiple open mics in the night if you have a car or your friend has a car, or you want to just throw a couple bucks on Lyft. Like, it's right there. And you can play Lion's Lair, and that's kind of like my home base club right now. I
don't have a car, but as it happens, my walk home takes me right past Lion's Lair. The catch is, I enjoy sticking around to the end of Merck, and because Merck has a great lineup. Yeah. And so typically, I went to Lion's Lair like a couple of weeks back because someone noticed me walking by outside, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you got to come in and play." He saw me at the Merc, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, you got to come in and play." And I was like, "Well, okay." I played, and it was near the end. It's about 2 a.m., something like that. Lion's Lair is a nice open mic. As far as variety goes, I don't think I don't think it's even close. Like Mercury has the most variety possible. I've never seen the same lineup twice. Every week there's someone who comes in like from out of state or just like some random act that plays once and then never plays again and like goes every like decade. So you get the most variety with Merc.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
I'd say Roxy Open Mic.
I haven't been there. Well, what's the deal with Roxy, dude?
Yeah. I go to the Roxy Open Mic. That's
Okay.
the first open mic I ever went to. That one is the first and last Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
Sign-ups at 6:30. I think you'd be particularly well suited to it. The sound design is great.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's a very South Broadway type demographic. Lion's Lair's a very Colfax demographic.
You know what? You know what? There is something to that. There is.
Yeah, I would say Merc's kind of the confluence. It's neither. I wouldn't say it's a particularly like California street demographic. I'd say Merc is kind of the convergence point. But yeah, I mean Lion's Lair is good if you're into like classic rock, hard rock, that type stuff, and then Roxy's better if you're into like kind of more soft-spoken type stuff with sort of a cavalier type edge. But
Dude, you know I love Cavalier type edge.
yeah,
That's like right up my alley.
I think the Roxy mic would make sense for you. Those are the three I go to.
Hey, dude, I want to call Kirk, the ombudsman producer of Fortune Radio.
Sure,
and you know, like I said, my aux cord is misplaced because I honestly lose something once a day. I'm gonna lose something. Mm-hmm. Hey, Kirk, what up, man? How you doing?
Hey.
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Hey, so no aux cord tonight, so you're on speaker. So I mean, shit, we'll see how it sounds. But yeah, would you like to introduce yourself to the guest?
Hi, my name's Kirk. I'm the editor and quote-unquote ombudsman. I'm up in Wyoming right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, it's hard to hear.
No, I can hear you fine.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I just wanted to call you, and you're here. It is taking place, and it's Sequeira.
Cicada. Like the insect.
Like
yeah.
the insect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pronounced like the insect, not spelled like the insect.
Dude, cicada, dude. I'd be going by cicada for sure. That's ice cold, man.
It's too difficult to spell.
What? Sequuida?
No, that's not it.
Sequada?
No, it's
Chandeliera?
Sequeira.
Eira.
It's
Sequeira.
No, it's pronounced cicada. It's a Portuguese surname.
Okay, cicada.
Yeah.
Interesting. Portuguese.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not Portuguese, but it's a Portuguese surname.
Word. Yeah, I'm fucking around with Sato right now. It's a Japanese surname. Sato.
Okay.
Japanese surname. Also means sugar in Japanese. That's my group that I'm working on right now.
Okay.
Sato stands for Silver in the One. Me and my friend doing collaborations with artists around the city, but it's kind of like a trip hop. We mess with loops and different beats and guitar, vocals, different stuff. But we're releasing an album called Keys to Grandeur, and it's being mixed and mastered right now.
Right.
And I'm really stoked on it. Do you have any recordings?
Yeah, I have tons of recordings.
Where are your recordings located?
So
people
I
can
prefer YouTube.
YouTube.
Nicolas Sequeira, Nicolas Sequeira. I post music videos on YouTube, and the music videos are really great. Anything with official music video, parenthetical in the title, is, I would say, probably worth listening to. Those are my big singles, and I put a lot of thought into the visuals that correspond with them. I'm also on Bandcamp, same spelling. So yeah, YouTube and Bandcamp, that's where my music's released, and you can find it. And yeah, it's all on there. Got about 9 albums and
9 albums.
Lots
wow.
of lots of like unreleased and
holy shit,
and
that's
stuff
awesome.
under other names and stuff.
That's awesome. I love recording. I've been getting into recording more lately. It's like hitting save on the moment, on the shit that you're working on.
Yeah.
Forever, honestly. I mean, potentially. If you can capsule that shit up, right, get it on the internet, hopefully humanity doesn't fail. Humanity or civilization doesn't crumble. And, you know, if the internet rides, you know.
I put it on tape because I have more faith in tape than I do in the internet.
For sure. So are you fucking with cassette or ADAT or what are you using?
Cassette.
Cassette?
Yeah,
nice.
compact cassette, type 1 ferric oxide.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who used to press his stuff on cassette. And it's cool, but it's like, who has a cassette player anymore? You have to. It's like, oh, that's cool, but I got to go buy a cassette player now if I want to fucking listen to it.
No, you can buy a Walkman. A Walkman is
So you have to buy the Walkman. It's a commitment to the band,
well,
to the group.
So is buying a cell phone. Buying a cell phone is more of a commitment because it requires a monthly payment, and a Walkman doesn't.
True.
I use rechargeable batteries. The big mistake I see is, you know, because a Walkman, you can get a power supply for it. You can get an AC adapter, but ideally, the method I use, because I like having it portable so I can take it with me on the go, I use rechargeable batteries.
Sure.
And the green type with
the green type.
Yeah,
dude, I want to get a
Walkman.
Walkman. I'm gonna get a cassette Walkman for sure, and a fucking Discman.
Double A's, which are usually the type that Walkmans run on, last like a day at the most. So it only makes sense to use rechargeable ones because you can use them like.
It only makes sense
times.
to get a cell phone, bro.
It doesn't to me. I don't.
What's
have
your
one.
deal with cell? So are you anti cell phone? What's the deal?
I'm
Is
not
it financial? Is it?
No, it's that a cell phone doesn't have functions that I need. Like for instance,
It doesn't have functions that you need.
Like for instance, Windows Movie Maker 2011, which is the video editing software I use. That's the video editing software I use, and to the best of my knowledge, it's not compatible with a cell phone.
Yeah, so you throw it on a fucking laptop. You don't do your video editing on a cell phone anyway.
Yeah, I do it on a desktop, which
Sure.
has the best storage capacity possible.
What kind of desktop are you fucking with?
HP.
Nice.
I think it's probably around like 2017, 2018 model or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, has a decent internal storage. The amount of video content I produce and the amount of audio content I produce, word processing capabilities.
Yeah, but let's talk about the cell phone. That's different. A desktop's different than a fucking laptop is different than a cell phone. But I mean, a cell phone, call your friends, GPS. You feel me?
I don't need
take
GPS.
a picture. Take a picture of a rabbit.
I know where everything in Denver is, and I'm only ever in Denver. So,
right. What about if you meet a girl and you're like, "Hey, I want to meet you. I want to meet you at Jelly Cafe," and she's like, "Where is it?" You know, first of all, how are you going to get a hold of her? You're going to use a payphone?
Well, where
are you gonna find a payphone?
I'm asexual, so.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
awesome, dude.
Let's begin with.
Can we go down that road, or
if I have a female friend, I typically use Instagram private messaging. I don't.
Oh, okay, sure.
I don't.
And then all the girls are doing that these days, anyways.
I don't use Instagram for anything else, but it seems to be the most common alternative to texting.
Yeah.
As far as texting, I don't really see what that's about. So Instagram's about the same. I just say on desktop, like, I'll be there in half an hour or so, and then I am, because I'm able to look up exactly how long it'll take me to walk somewhere, and I know exactly where everything is. In terms of taking a picture, I use my digital camera for that. It's a Red Olympus model, and it takes better pictures and videos than most cell phones are capable of.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
And it's compact.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think people who want to take videos or photos, especially if you go to live shows a lot, I argue you should invest in a good or even low quality digital camera. it has good functionality.
Absolutely.
And you can get some great shots with that.
Absolutely. My buddy brought over a Canon. It's like a 4K digital camera. I can't recall the model, but it's just, I mean, the video quality is just absurd, you know? And I mean, it's great. We plugged a microphone into it and some noise cancellation headphones, and it was like I was in a different world. It was fucking nuts, man.
Yeah. And then I would say, the other thing you say is like call. I just use the landline, but like I say, I think email is the most convenient. I use email quite often, and never lets me down. And
well, fuck it, you don't need a phone then. Who the hell am I? You don't need a phone. Because you got your own thing going. That's fantastic. But can we talk about this asexual thing for a second?
Sure. It's very
so,
interesting.
all right, because asexuality, it's a choice or it's a feeling, or you're born that way, or you strike out with the ladies.
You're born that way. It's a sexual orientation like homosexuality.
So you never have the urge to have sex, or you do but you don't? Or
No.
How does that work?
You have no sex drive. The libido is absent.
Okay, so you're not attracted by males or females?
No.
At all?
No.
Interesting.
No. It's sort of like, it's just like homosexual. Well, with homosexuality, you're not attracted to females, and you're like that from birth. And with asexuality, you're attracted to nobody. There is a difference between asexuality and aromanticism in that aromantic people cannot be romantic. Asexual people can't have sex. You can be one or the other, or both, or neither. In which case, you're allosexual or alloromantic.
What would it take?
Really, absolutely nothing.
What would it take? Cicada, let's talk about it. Because, I mean, honestly, all right, you get a nice, older woman, she's got a nice 401k, she's talking to you, she's whining you, she's dining you. Let's paint a picture for these people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You're at a bar somewhere, just looking classy as hell like you do.
Right.
You know what I mean? This motherfucker's got a suit on. He's not joking around. So, and she says, hey, why don't you come back to my place? Like, I'd like to give you a foot massage. I'm a masseuse also. Like, I'm well off and I'm a masseuse, and I'm good looking. Like, would you go with her?
Well, nothing about tactile stimuli, at least in that capacity, really interests me. Like, for instance, certain tactile stimuli does interest me. For instance, like an amusement park ride, like a roller coaster or something. As far as just like the human body goes, though, it's pretty boring to me. So what I can do, what I can facilitate that other people might not be able to, is I'm good at critiquing art. So if there's some girl and she has like a painting or something, then I can go, oh, this is a nice painting. But I don't really see people beyond art. I only understand artistic expression. That's basically the only human behavior I understand in any meaningful capacity or can relate to. As far as sex goes, it's completely beyond my frame of reference, as is romance.
As is romance.
Yeah, both.
Good.
I'm
God, Cicada.
I'm asexual and aromantic. I only interact with people in a platonic capacity.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's insane. That's not insane. That's not what I meant to say. That's just
fine.
because I only know my own self, and I'm a hopeless romantic, recklessly romantic, and I love to have sex and make love and fuck and all different kinds of intercourse, coitus, and
as far as I'm
things,
aware,
like different kinds and different,
as
areas,
far as I'm aware,
places,
asexuality,
you know what I mean?
Asexuality,
women, and honestly, I watched Fury the other night, and I was looking at Brad Pitt like, good God, this guy's holding up. You know what I'm saying? He's on top of a tank with a machine gun, just you know what I'm saying? I'm like, Brad, you know what I mean?
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, asexuality is relatively rare. It's only about 0.1 or 0.01% of the population. It's much rarer than homosexuality here.
Does that turn you on? The fact that it's so rare and it makes you unique?
No, I suppose you could say that I'm the only person I understand, or at least like kind of understand. So, yeah, I'm not attracted to anyone else. I don't know what attractiveness is. I don't know what makes, like, I don't know what physical attributes are considered more or less attractive. I am aware that there's a great deal of subjectivity to that, but
Well, but you understand art and you can critique art, and I think art can be beautiful. I mean, what about like if you're looking at like a sports car? I mean, can you look at it and be like, "Damn, that's a good-looking car," or you're looking at a piece of art on a wall?
yeah,
and you're
like a painting or something of like a landscape, an inanimate object. As far as people go, I view people. I have a certain means of looking at people where I see them as disembodied brains floating on spinal columns, and the more creative someone is, the brighter their brain is. It runs on a scale from like withered gray, which is not creative at all, to like bright sizzling turquoise, which is like, this is the most creative person possible. But I can see creative potential. I can't really see personality, but I'd say I can see creative potential. I can see how likely someone is to become like a really great artist, a rock star, or painter, or whatever, muralist. But I can't really see, like, as far as just like the physical body goes. That's like, that's really just like a sort of an externality. Yeah,
for sure.
as far as that goes.
Hell yeah! I mean, it's
Yeah.
the first thing that comes to my mind is just full-blown Robotron, robotic robot. Like, you're in the synth world, robot world. And I know that's fucked up to say, but no, dude. I mean, the thing is, man, this is it's your journey, man. Like, you're the main character in your story.
Yeah,
Like, that's what makes you fucking unique. That's part of what makes you unique.
That's true.
That's pretty fucking cool, man.
I would say the inability to understand most human phenomena isn't necessarily a positive, but it's the cards I've been dealt, so I have to handle it. And,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can't, and I'm in a pretty unique position too, because I just view stuff like gender and stuff in a very different way. I would say though that, yeah, as it is interesting that throughout most of history, like, sexuality has been viewed as a universal constant, and even within LGBTQ plus circles, it's not at all common and very much misunderstood. But lots of figures throughout history are purported to have been asexual. Henry David Thoreau, for instance, was most likely asexual, as far as we know.
Wow, insane, man. Hey, well, I wanted to talk about, because I could talk about sex all night, to be honest. Yeah. But you know what? I wanted to ask you about your comic, because you gave me a comic. All right, so we're at Corner Beat. I was leaving. Cicada hands me a comic and a picture that he drew of me, saying, "I'm interested in your podcast. Here's my information.
Yeah.
I want
Which comic was it?
I got it on my desk. I can't recall. Let me.
Okay.
Here, I want to grab it because honestly, because I'm gonna have some promotional posts for this podcast. You know what I mean? So okay. I'm gonna plug your comic and your music.
Okay. Sure.
And also, if you don't mind, I want to grab my Ray-Bans and do a little bit of recording. Nothing too crazy.
No.
You want to tell these people something?
Okay. Sure. Yeah. I make comics. You can get the comics by writing in for a full free catalog. Nicolas Sequeira, 1424 Columbine Street, number 1, Denver, Colorado, 80206. You write in for the catalog. I send you the catalog. You fill the catalog out with what comics you want. I send it back to me, and I send you the comic. So it's a pretty simple process.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool.
You got one of my short stories, Phase Shift Syndrome. Have you read that?
Oh, yeah, Phase Shift Syndrome by Nicolas Sequeira.
That's not one of my comics. That's one of my pocket books. So that's
short story. I apologize.
Well, it's a pocket book. It's designed to fit in the pocket and be nice and portable. And I think it's one of the shorter ones of mine, about probably around 2,000 words, I think.
So tell me about this. I mean, what's the process for something like this? Are you on a typewriter? Or are you on your desktop, your HP, and you're writing? Is it a short story? And forgive me, I've been busy as hell. I should have read it, but I'm planning on it.
No, that's fine if you didn't. I mean, it's every one of those is a different experience, and I have about 15 in circulation. So, but I have way more short stories than that. I probably have like over 200 at this point. I would say that, I use Google Docs. I do have an electric typewriter. It's AX12, but I use it for specific projects, like Blotto, for instance. I use my electric typewriter for that. I use it for one of my novels that I'm on, because working on a typewriter, just like with the keyboard and piano, it's very different from working on a word processor, which also, by extension, is very different from writing by hand. So, typically I use a word processor just because I like having word count, and my typewriter doesn't have that. But, I like having word count. And
I want to get my hands on a typewriter so bad. I was over there at Mutiny, and they just have a typewriter, old school typewriter, sitting on the bookshelf, and I'm just clacking away at it because it just sounds cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
you can
talk about an action or a what is it called? Not a recoil, a feedback. What is it? Like when you're on a keyboard action, keyboard recoil, just how it feels, how it responds when you
can find out a lot about how a keyboard feels by just pressing away at it if you're out and about. Electric typewriters, though, are different because how it feels very different when it's turned off versus when it's turned on to press on the keys, and it has a much more modern, streamlined type feel than a manual typewriter.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So this phase shift syndrome, can you give me like a little synopsis on this guy?
That's one of my more abstract ones. So I'll say that it ties into my Mystic Cement story, and it does feature a character from that story. So those of you listening who have wondered about that, it is about Bayard Macy, and it's basically just a rundown of how phasing works in my ongoing Mythopoeia, the alternate state sequence. And I do plan on...
Dude, can you please elaborate on that? You can't just run by
that.
First of all, rewind. Say that one more time.
Yeah.
Can you just rewind like 15 seconds?
Okay. So this is about Bayard Macy and how he initiates the process of phasing, to those who are unaware.
Phasing. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop there. Just
okay.
All right, now pause. Phasing. What are we talking about when you say phasing?
Phasing is a process in my Mythopoeia which involves it involves travel, either voluntary or involuntary, between separate timelines, and the sense of like alienation and depersonalization that comes with that. The loss of identity as you go from one timeline to the next, and in each timeline something is vaguely different, and it's like Marty McFly in Back to the Future. You're fading in and out. You're phasing. That's what I call it. I'm pretty sure.
Phasing.
Pretty sure I came up with the term. It's either intentional, in which case it can be used practically by characters in the story, or it's unintentional, in which case it pretty much drives you crazy. It's sort of like The Jaunt by Stephen King.
I love Stephen King. It kind of reminds me of quantum physics, something that like phasing, like electrons phasing in and out of existence, or
like Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
I think what I based it on was that back in like elementary school, math class or something, very boring, and the term used, I guess for autistic people or ADHD. I don't have ADHD, I have autism, but the term used was phasing out. That's what they would say. Oh, you're phasing out. And I thought, wow, I can block boring stuff from reaching my ears. That's kind of cool. So
Yeah, absolutely. Clear the mechanism.
Yeah,
man.
the phrase phasing stuck with me. I think that's where it came from. I think that's where I got it. But yeah, that's about phasing, and there's gonna be like a follow up eventually. But that's the main mechanism that everyone uses in my connected universe that I've built up. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Yeah, because initially I jumped in because I wanted to talk about your comics because that's what I fucking thought Phase Shift Syndrome was a comic.
This here is one of my comics.
Oh, okay. What's that?
I've brought this for you.
Cool.
This is the Hypnagogic Archive comic. Nice. It's a 4-part tie-in to my ARG of the same name, although it's not available online, unlike all the stories in the ARG. Phase Shift Syndrome is from the Mystic Cement ARG, which is connected but not the same. And Hypnagogic Archive, the comic, Exploiters of Time, features 4 one-shot stories of Ellis, Dan, Shelby, and Javier as they work in the Hypnagogic Archive, which is Hygiene's most mysterious archival preservation organization. Probably Hygiene's only preservation organization.
Good God.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're time travelers?
No, the Hypnagogic Archive is composed of Ellis, who's sort of a demented sociopath bent on preserving as much media as possible and staving off the forces of entropy. Nice. And the other 3 are pretty much just kind of normal. Well, one of them isn't. One of them is deeply tied to the story. But the other 2 are pretty average. Javier's just like an accountant. So
and you illustrate and write and you press them and you put them together and you pass them out.
Yeah, I
one man band.
I drew all of this. I write all of the Hypnagogic Archive stories. When it got popular online, got like 1 million fans. People initially assumed that it was like written by like multiple people, that the Hypnagogic Archive was some kind of art collective like Cinedyne. But no, it's just me, and I take all the videos. I put out an album, not in my official discography, but there is a full Hypnagogic Archive album. I'll probably do another comic eventually because there's season 2 now. And
dude, all right, listen, I'm entering season 3 in my life right now. Will you please make a Sato comic, dude? It's honestly, this is the dojo, man. It's a dojo with a couple ninjas and weary artist travelers and Ronin samurai come to the dojo and like they can rest their head and like use Wi-Fi and like work on their art, get their hustle on, and then like continue on their journey, you know? And so yeah, and like, you know, there's like digital delay guitar sparring sessions and like whatever, copious amounts of psychedelics.
I can't say feudal Japan interests me much as a setting. I will say.
Well, no, it doesn't. It's in America. It's just an homage to the Japanese culture. Like it's kind of like Wu-Tang.
Yeah, Wu-Tang. Don't they mostly use like Hong Kong samples?
Yeah, they use some great samples, man.
But from Hong Kong films and Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, like Shaolin and I'm pretty sure it's Chinese.
Yeah, so not Japanese.
Yeah.
If I ever set anything in Asia, well, I have a Vietnam comic, but it would probably I'd want to do maybe a Mongol comic because the Mongols are pretty cool.
Just think about it, bro. Like a black dude with dreads, like a black ninja, and then like me, like a Jewish guy. You know, he kind, you know, so 2 ninjas.
Well,
right,
ninjas and samurais don't particularly interest me.
Well, then it's yeah. All right, well, I'll hit the brakes then.
I mean, you know, and like Japan was on the side of the Axis powers during World War II. Yeah, it was.
It's true. You're 100% right. They're piloting kamikaze fucking zero airplanes.
I'm pretty sure most of the Wu-Tang Clan album uses like Hong Kong, like Enter the Dragon and stuff, but I could be wrong.
I love those.
What's your favorite Wu-Tang Clan album off Enter the 36 Chambers?
Dude, I don't know, man. I'm not like super familiar with their catalog.
I mean, it's probably Cream. I
like Cream.
I like Method Man, but I think
Cash rules everything around me.
I think Cream is more universal and has more of a an all-consuming statement that effectively sums up the entire.
What an
I'd have to say
acronym.
cream.
It's such a good acronym. Cash rules everything around me.
Yeah, I'd say
Get the
cream.
money, dollar bills, y'all.
It's nice.
It really is.
Yeah, I like Wu-Tang. As far as hip hop goes, I like Slick Rick. I like MF Doom. Yeah, I like pretty much all the classics. Run DMC, obviously.
Yeah, hell yeah. I just came across Jay Dilla, and he's so fucking sick. Also, the classics. Like The Notorious B.I.G. and
KMD, Roger Troutman. Well, Roger Troutman's funk, but he's on California Love.
Rugged Man.
Yeah, that I'd say my favorite used to be I got into hip hop initially with the very basic rudimentary stuff, Slick Rick, Curtis Blow, and then I'd say I've settled on that my favorite era is early '90s Wu-Tang and Dr. Dre and all that, NWA.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And like that.
Yeah, it's so good, man. That's a lot of the hip hop that I'm listening to as well.
Right.
And you know who I actually really like is Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah, they're great.
Cause like the whole just scratching, like that whole that shit is awesome to me. Like, cause that's you grab a really hot sample off of some wax and you just start scratching it and it becomes its own instrument. I just got a 4-pack of needles off of Amazon.
Yeah.
Because I broke my needle on my Stratton.
I do much the same thing, but with cassette, and I use specifically samples from old science fiction movies and commercials and the like.
Yes.
And I just loop something on my tape deck and let it go, and it's pretty interesting. New wave, I think, is the most promising genre for Denver to embrace. And I hope to see more new wave around here soon.
New wave. You've been saying new wave. Will you describe new wave to me?
Well, I create Denver new wave, which is a subgenre of new wave, which has its origins in Denver in the 1980s with groups like the Aviators, and I consider myself a part of that lineage. New wave broadly includes groups like the Talking Heads and the Go-Go's and Devo and the B-52s, of course. And not their first two albums, but everything after Whammy, and sort of Mesopotamia, and all of the Go-Go's. And new wave is both a subgenre of pop and a subgenre of rock, and it involves colorful neon visuals and sort of a 50s, 60s type aesthetic sensibility, with less of the psychedelic attribute, although Denver New Wave does have more of a psychedelic component due to its proximity to Boulder.
Denver New Wave, man. That's really cool. I didn't even realize that was a fucking thing. I like the Talking Heads, man.
Yeah.
David Byrne's the man.
What's your favorite Talking Heads album?
Dude, he was into fucking Japanese culture, man. All right. He went to Japan. He admired. Have you ever read? He admired the fucking Japanese.
I know that his big suit was inspired by Japanese theater.
Absolutely, yeah.
He was autistic. He's one of the major autistic role models. One of the very few autistic celebrities. Nobody could stand him.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's really obvious if you watch anything he does or anything he says, or just how he sings.
Well, that's crazy, man. I'll have to take a closer look for sure.
Yeah, he's very much autistic. I think he's Scottish though, or he was born in Scotland.
A lot of Scots are aughts.
Well, Byrne
a lot of Scots are aughts.
Byrne is a Scottish surname. As far as what's your favorite Talking Heads album?
My favorite Talking Heads album. That's a good question, man. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Most people would say Remain in Light, but my favorite is More Songs About Buildings and Food.
Hey, let me grab something. I'll be right back. Tell these people will you tell these people some words of wisdom?
Okay.
Because I know you got some words of wisdom. I'll be right back. I just gotta grab. Let me just grab my seats.
Okay, sure. My words of wisdom would be, if you want to succeed in the artistic field, you need to apply yourself as much as you would in the legal or scientific fields. And there's no shortcuts, and you have to apply yourself every waking moment to art. Let art completely consume you, and eventually you'll be as successful in the arts as you would in any other field. But you have to apply yourself and go at it and really give your all to it. That'd be my advice to any upcoming artist. So
That's fucking beautiful, dude. And it's true,
Yeah,
man. You
I
want to
would
become a
say.
doctor, you know, it's going to take you fucking 9 years or however long.
yeah,
You got to devote yourself to that
Yeah.
shit.
I've known I'm gonna be a cartoonist since birth, pretty much. So, and here I am, and yeah. As far as I'm aware, I'm producing some of the best comics in Denver. I wouldn't go so far as to say like the best in the country, and I also wouldn't want to diminish the achievements of my peers in the comic space in Denver, because I do know there are a few pretty decent cartoonists out there. As far as comics go, though, really untapped field in Denver, and there need to be more comics, and there need to be more people drawing comics. Every time I see a good, competent comic book, it puts some faith in me, makes me feel good to see some comics out and about. So
I love comic books,
Yeah.
man. Do you have a good collection? What's your like your crown jewel comic? Do you have it, or do you have any like favorites? Like,
I don't collect comics besides like a few hardcover reprints of Crazy Cat, Thimble Theater, EC Comics. I have some soft covers of those, but aside from that, what I really have gotten into this last year is collecting zines. Anytime I see a good zine out and about, zines are a very different medium, but a lot more people make them in Denver. Denver has a thriving zine scene.
a thriving zine scene. You're talking magazines like fucking Westward? And
No,
all?
I mean like zines, the self-published equivalent of magazines.
Okay. Okay.
Most large-scale magazines in Denver are extremely corrupt and poorly written, and you're going to get much better content out of a small-scale zine because it reflects people's sentiments and attitudes towards the world in a much more honest way, with a lot of journalistic integrity. So I've been collecting zines, and I put them in a shoebox, alphabetized, and I got some real rarities, and they're a lot of fun to collect. And I'd say I probably have over 100 as it is. Sometimes they have some little comics in them, but I mainly enjoy them for their literary qualities. I can't say there are enough comics locally to really consider collecting local comics, but I don't read like DC or Marvel, so I don't collect those.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, local. That's like pirate. That's pirate comics. That's pirate illustration. That's underground. That's cool, man. Like that's probably the good shit. That's the real good shit.
Yeah, if you want to, if you go into Denver zines or Denver comics, they're pretty good. I do like what Denverites are capable of writing about and thinking and saying. And I like I say, the only way I can connect with anyone is how they express themselves artistically. So
Yeah.
I can get to know someone pretty well by taking a look into their zine, and that's a great function of zines. And I recommend the Denver Zine Library. It's on the top floor of the Bob Ragland Branch Library in Rhino, and Zine Club meets there 3 to 4 p.m. the last Saturday of every month. So there's one next Saturday. And it's good. It's a great resource for zine creators and people who want to read zines, people who want to read more about like specialized topics like Hispanic issues, LGBTQ plus issues, music. There's a ton of music scenes that like catalog albums nobody listens to anymore, personal zines or perzines. There's like historic scenes.
There's there's zines
Yeah,
for days.
there's all type genres and genres that don't even exist in other mediums. They're a very unique medium, and I don't know why I didn't get into them before like last year, but I'm very glad I did.
Dude, I like the Walking Dead comics. So
Yeah?
cool, man. That show, I mean, the early seasons of that show were pretty good because I really do like zombies. But I like that comic, man. It's a good comic.
Yeah,
Like,
I can't say I can really fault the Walking Dead comic. As far as zombie media goes, I'll always prefer Night of the Living Dead.
yeah,
But
classic.
I would say, yeah, pretty much like good modern comics. The Mask started out as a comic. Pretty good
I had
comic.
no idea.
Yeah.
What a great story The Mask is, too.
Well, the comic is very different.
What's the deal with the
very
comic?
different from the movie. The Mask shapeshifts a lot more. The Mask is a lot more violent.
Okay.
And Jim Carrey's character, what's his name, Stanley Ipkiss, is a very different guy because the comic wasn't drawn with Jim Carrey in mind. Similar with Men in Black. Men in Black was originally a comic.
Really? I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Fucking name, man.
It's originally
Will Smith. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a pretty good comic. Except in the comic, both of them are white, and they deal with like werewolves and vampire. It's more like the X-Files.
Oh, okay.
But
instead of primarily
in
aliens
the movies,
from outer
it's just
space.
aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the
That's
comic's
almost
good.
cooler. That's almost cooler. They deal with all forms of interdimensional fucking monsters and all kinds of shit. Twilight Zone shit.
Yeah, I recommend the Men in Black comic. I recommend the Mask comic, and I recommend. I'd go so far as to say I'd even recommend the Walking Dead comic. I like comics with new ideas and that have a new story and like original characters. And so long as it's not just the 1 millionth issue of Batman or Superman or whatever, I can't really fault it. Like, if you're trying to make a new universe with new characters, that's cool, and comics are really good at that. I like Valerian. I like Barbarella a lot. I like those
Barbarella's a babe.
Dylan Dog. Dylan Dog's good. It's Italian.
Never heard.
Yeah, I've seen the Barbarella movie. I think that's one of the best comic adaptations ever made. The Valerian movie's okay, I guess, as far as like being an adaptation of the comic. It's very fringe, so a lot of people didn't get it, but it's okay. I didn't hate the Valerian movie. It's an
Valerian
okay
Root
adaptation.
is all I know about Valerian.
Yeah, well, it's based on a comic from the same time period as Barbarella, the 60s. And the movie came out way too late. There should have been a movie way before it, but yeah, I would say I prefer the Barbarella movie with Jane Fonda though. That's one of my favorite science fiction movies, just because it's based on a comic and it does a really good job of adapting the comic and like the Frenchness of it all.
Yeah.
I like the French comics.
French comics. Dude, that's awesome, man. Yeah. I've been trying to go to comic shops, record shops, like just mom and pop shops, like around town. You know what I mean?
Right.
And trying to stay away from corporate America. You know what I mean? Stay away from 7-Eleven and fucking. I mean, shit. I had McDonald's today, so who the fuck am I? But you know, I'd like to support. You know, go to the head shop to get your smokes instead of 7-Eleven.
As far as comic and record shops go, I'd say Denver has a lot of good options. You ever been to Black and Reed?
No.
In Arvada? That's the most insane record bookstore anywhere. It's got like shelves and shelves. It way outdoes anything in like central Denver. It's just got shelves and shelves and shelves of stuff. It goes way back, and you wonder like how does this place even exist? Because I don't even know how. It's wild. You wouldn't like stepping in there is for the first time is an experience if you see all those shelves and shelves of records and books just stretching way back.
What did you say it was called?
Black and Reed. It's in Arvada on Wadsworth Boulevard, like 70th Avenue or something.
Okay, I'm gonna go there.
And it's it really outdoes any record store in central Denver. Although we have a nice little selection here, and you don't run out of good
Wax
things to
Tracks
listen
is
to
right
or
up the
read.
street. Wax Tracks 2, and then there's City Records, which is pretty nice.
City
I
Records.
just went in there for the first time, and they're
Yeah,
cool people over there. They
that's
got really
nice.
cool shit over there too.
Yeah, City Records, Kilgore, Mutiny, all those I'd say, should be supported.
Yeah, Mutiny
should
is
be bought
fucking
from.
great, dude. There's a cipher tonight at Mutiny. You should come. I went in there because I was like, dude, like, you guys don't have an open mic. What the hell? And it turns out, or you don't have a music open mic, and it turns out they have a cypher twice a month.
Yeah.
And like you were talking about the hip hop scene in Denver, and like I guess the hip hop scene in Denver meets up at Mutiny twice a month, and
that'd be one place to go to form connections if you want to get into hip hop.
I'm going there tonight.
Where else? I know there's some other hip hop spots. I don't really get into that side of music as much as new wave in particular, but there's also obviously the Roxy and 5 Points. That's the huge spot. I went to a concert that had some pretty kicking acts there. Roxy Theater and 5 Points, unaffiliated with Roxy on Broadway, but
Very cool.
that's like the main hip hop theater on Wilton Street.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over there and do that open mic for sure. Hey, dude, sorry. I mean, somebody's taking a fucking bath next door or in their kitchen sink or something.
Heck,
sorry
I don't
about
care.
that.
I can barely hear.
Hey, but I do want to do kind of a plug today. I just finished an invention today. I'd like to tell you about it because it's up your alley. I think you might like it.
Yeah.
So it's called the Sato box, and so it's a vintage Samsonite briefcase, and I've got all my guitar pedals in it, Velcro to the bottom, like the base of it, and then the lid that lifts up. I installed an amplifier, so a speaker, and a fucking it's a Line 6 Spider 4, so it's like a effects amplifier, and I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna sell these boxes, right? And fully custom.
How many effects does it have?
Tons, like countless, infinite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The amp itself has at least 100 effects. Plus, you can go in and alter the effects and completely dial these effects in, right? And then I've got my personal guitar pedals, you know what I'm saying? Like I've got my Line 6, my Boss, and everything else. So, and it's inside of this case, so it's all in one. And it's great because, dude, you see pedal boards and it's like, yeah, they're in like a black canvas bag. It's nothing special to look at. And then you take it out of the bag and then it's just a pedal board on the ground, you know what I mean? And there's wires everywhere and it looks like trash. But the Sato box, man, it's like a classy looking suitcase. You know what I mean?
So your aim is to make the effects board look just aesthetically improve it for the audience.
Exactly. And so it's kind of part of the show. So it's like, yeah, just contact me, and you can go to my website, fortune-sound.com. And you can order a Sato box of your own. Right now they're going for $500, which sounds a little bit pricey, but I mean, the one that I have right now, I'm not letting go of. But you know, we can negotiate price, especially homeboy prices. You know, because we got to buy the case, depending on whatever amplifier you want to install into it. You know, but I mean, dude, they're giving away these fucking practice amps these days, $15-$20. Get yourself a nice little practice amp, multi-channel, throw it into this box, you're good to go. Sato box, baby.
Does it take a standard 1/4-inch input?
Yeah, so it operates exactly like the amp would, except for I just took it out of the cabinet and installed it into the suitcase.
It works with any instrument that has a 1/4-inch input.
Yes.
The next time you're at an open mic, I see you with the Sato box.
Yeah, I'll have it. It's ready. It's ready. I'll be using it Wednesday night. Actually, I'll go to Mercury. On Wednesday, and I'll also go to Lions Lair.
You have enough faith that it's in good working condition and can fill up that. Like, does the Sato box have an output that can go
into the main system?
Into the main system.
Yes.
And it also functions as an amp on its own?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So I would love to make one for you, custom design one for you, get you going on it. And you know, I'll give you a great deal on it. I'm trying to be a fucking entrepreneur, Cicada. To be honest, I'm tired of working for the man. And I think these boxes are gonna sell. I mean, I can fucking send them all over the country, all over the world. You know, just ship these motherfuckers out.
Yeah, I'd say if you put all your if you really apply yourself to that, especially if if it's not difficult for you to get the raw materials to make them, and there's a high demand for them, which I assume there would be, because I've seen lots of people with different forms of amp and distortion stuff, and that does seem to be a pretty active field.
Yeah, and you got one hand on your amplifier, one hand on your pedal board, you got one hand on your guitar, so this way, you got your amp and your pedal board, and then you got your guitar, and you're in, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And bro, here's the deal.
Right.
Samsonite originally is from Denver, Colorado. So there's a vintage Samsonite badge on my Sato box that says, check this, it says Samsonite, Schwader, Denver, Colorado. So not only is it say Denver, Colorado on it, which is so fucking cool to represent home base, but also Schwader, which is a Jewish name, so he's part of the tribe. It's like the coolest fucking thing ever. It's like this universal, like I can't even say no. And as I'm building it, it's just all coming together, man.
It's an interesting coincidence.
Everything's fitting. All my pedals are fitting into it perfectly. Like it's nuts, dude.
Well, that's fascinating.
I'd love to make you one, because you can get your hands on a Samsonite suitcase for real cheap, and they've got sets of them, in great condition with the keys and everything else, and you just build that shit. Put your synthesizer. How big is your synthesizer? Get your synthesizer in the case, protected.
My synth is pretty long.
It's massive.
It's not massive, but I don't think it would fit in the sound box. However, I can't say exactly
we'll make a custom
I can't say exactly how every
throw some wheels on it.
I can't say exactly how every instrument sounds with distortion. I very rarely have ever used distortion. I have an amp, but it doesn't really distort the sound that much.
I'll tell you what, before we leave, and it's not too late because we started early, we can plug my Hammond organ into the SATA box, and you could throw down, and we'll record it and if you want.
I'll see how it sounds.
If you want. I mean, it's going to sound like a goddamn dream. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm willing to test now. Sure.
Well, dude, I don't want to go too long tonight because I want to keep it short and sweet. I don't want these people to be intimidated by show length when they see it. I want them to listen.
Yeah, I'd say covered about a pretty decent amount of topics.
Is there anything that you wanted to bring up?
Interesting topics.
Or anything that you wanted to ask the people or tell the people or fucking say or promote or plug or anything?
Oh, yeah. I have a show coming up with Pink Lady Monster upstairs at the Skylark Lounge, March 18th, 7 p.m. I'll probably be going around 8. I go first. Pink Lady Monster is a great group. They're out of Denver, and they're real swell. They're Denver New Wave, just like me. So if you like my songs, you'll like their songs. And this show's been in the works for a long time, and we'll probably play our single, How to Dance, at the show, and it'll be a good night of dancing and tunes. So if you want to hear some good music, then come on down to Skylark, March 18th, 7 p.m., $12, Pink Lady Monster album release show. It's their first ever album, and they're really gonna go at it. So, other than that, I would say, Fortune Radio is a project I have a great deal of respect and admiration for. Everything is very aesthetic and classy, and it's a good sound. And you do have. I will say this: you do have a very unique style that I don't hear too much often. So, your songs are pretty cool.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that. Thank you for saying that, and I really can't. I'm looking forward. I can't wait to see your set. I'm looking forward to listening to you at Mercury. You'll be at Mercury, right?
Yes, every Wednesday. I should plug the open mics I'm at, and I highly recommend these for any musician. Merc Cafe every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Sign up about 8:45, depending on who's the host. There's 2 alternating hosts. Corner Beat open mic. That's at 6 p.m. You want to get there like 5:45 for sign up.
This Monday?
Yeah. I think you were at it.
It's Monday, yeah.
Yeah, Monday, 6 p.m. But you want to get there at like 5:45. Music starts at 6:30. And the last one I go to, I go to some others, but the last main one I go to on a recurring regular basis, where basically I never miss it, is Roxy Open Mic, first and last Tuesday of every month. Sign-ups are at 6:30, and music starts at 7. That's the Roxy on Broadway, across from like Sam's Club. So, yeah, those are the 3 open mics. You can pretty much always definitely count on me being there unless there's something like extremely pressing. But I go to those like every single week. So, yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. And to the people out there, much love. Thank you for listening to Fortune Radio. 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 Go here. 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 Go here.
Fortune Radio.